nap during the day for 2 hours, right? Maybe I want to sleep in the middle of the day. Maybe, hey, Christine, glad you're here. Maybe I want to take a nap in the middle of the day, right? Maybe I want to hang out and just sit on my phone or play Gardenscapes or whatever it is that I wanted to do, right? What I will say is what I also did in that same, thanks for the hearts. What I also did during that same time period is I focused a lot more on my own content instead of consuming so much. So I was on my phone probably like way less. Like I wasn't scrolling maybe like 10% of the amount I was scrolling before, right? Just like scrolling through, just like kind of mindlessly. It's like a habit, right? Once you build up that habit in your brain, like it's hard to break it, even if you don't recognize it or you don't like it. You don't want to be doing that, but it's just like a habit. So I kind of started breaking that habit, and I noticed that I was able to retain a lot more of my energy. Like I was I was focused on myself more, and I was just really enjoying that, right? So I had more energy to go do things, pleasurable things, right? And then I decided to take action from the pleasure, to take action when the inspiration came from that point. Not sitting around racking my brain saying, I need inspiration. So May 13th is the day that I got the idea for Easy Money, right? I was like, I've just went through all this, right? I just like slowed down my nervous system and taught my nervous system that money comes from a relaxed place. Again, right? Like I've known that to a certain degree, but it's like a new level of relaxation. It's like sinking deeper into the bed or the chair, right? Like relaxing even further. So May 13th, I got the idea. I felt like a download. I made the graphic right away, May 13th. And then I decided, okay, this is like an experiment, right? This program is an experiment. It's an experiment on how much I can surrender, how much I can trust the universe and trust myself, right? It's easy money. I created the program from my experience of easy money. So it's only right that I'm selling it from that same energy. It's only right that I'm selling it from the same energy of easy money. So I decided it's an experiment, right? I decided it got to be fun. It got to be this experiment. But like deep down, I just knew that my energy was so on point with this offer that it didn't matter anything else I was doing, right? It didn't matter that I slept for 4 hours in the middle of the day. Like none of the traditional conditioning I had around productivity was even relevant anymore. You know what I mean? I did things when I felt like doing them, and I ended up being able to pull everything together to launch something on the 18th. So that was only five days, right? That I created everything for it. And it's because it came through so clearly. The channel was so clear for me receiving what I was supposed to do. And it's because I wasn't in this flip-flop energy. I wasn't in this flip-flop of like holding two truths at one time, right? I prioritized one truth over the other. I decided that money was easy and abundance came through in a really easy way. I decided that was the truth, and anything else that wasn't the truth, right? So that's how I created it. That's how I brought it to the world. It's still really new for me, right? Because it's crazy to think that I can plan out something at the beginning of the month, plan out this whole plan of dates and launches and what I want to do next. And I think I have these ideas kind of germinating, right? But then I relaxed and something came through so quickly, and I knew I was supposed to put this out before I put out this next thing I'm launching, right? I heard almost like a voice tell me that I needed to put out Easy Money before I put out this next launch or put out this next program. So it's interesting totally releasing control like that, right? And it's interesting totally surrendering to your guidance, and even if it's not something you consciously want to do, and whether that's ego preventing that from happening, or maybe it's something that you've just never considered before, you know, it's just kind of crazy how that works out when you start listening to the guidance and being committed to following that guidance, because that's part of the surrender process, right? That's, you're surrendering to the guidance that you're receiving. Because a lot of us don't realize, but we actually have so much guidance flowing through us at all times that, like, more often than not, we're actually the ones pushing it away. We're actually the ones that aren't ready for the information yet, right? Stay faithful to the reality you want to recreate. Yes. It can get easier and easier. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, and removing the feeling of expectation around how I had to show up on social media or everything like that. And it's something that I had practiced before, but never this intentionally and never this, like, fully committed. But it's so crazy. It's crazy that a lot of times the less action you take, the easier it is, and the more results you get, right? That's the exact opposite of what we're taught. So that's kind of another inspiration for Easy Money, is because anywhere is there this idea, a mainstream idea that if, like, hard work isn't the road to success, right? We hear that constantly. Well, it's just hard work. It's just staying dedicated and putting in the effort and, you know, giving it your all. But sometimes it's not. It's really not. A lot of times it's not about pushing yourself and giving yourself, you know, giving yourself these strict rules of what to follow. Like, success doesn't always come that way. It certainly can, but there's plenty of hardworking people that do that don't have success. So it's not about, and whatever, you know, success is so relative as well. So whatever that definition is for them. But I'm just not going to subscribe to this idea that hard work is the answer, or hard work is the way that abundance flows into us. Because it's kind of another thing where you have to kind of play with the subtle energies of it too, right? Like, of course, the core, I believe in that. Like, the core of me believes that money is easy, abundance is easy, right? Abundance is accessible to everyone. The core of me believes that, but then these subtle energies that I was still holding were still alluding to hard work. And it's not until I actually looked at them that I realized how much that is so conflicting from, like, an energy standpoint. You know what I mean? So the guidance is always on. The only hard work I do is being committed and honoring myself and my energy. Yes, totally. And that's, I think I wrote down something really similar to that today, that, like, the hardest thing is honoring your energy 100% of the time, right? Most people can dedicate honoring their energy sometimes, honoring their energy 50% of the time. But again, it's something we're so conditioned out of in, like, a mainstream corporate environment, right? In a corporate environment where a woman works a 9 to 5 in an office with no windows or no outdoor environment or whatever the situations are, right? We're conditioning ourselves to, like, lower our standards essentially and compromise our energy for money in those environments. So when we get to our own business, or we get out of that kind of environment, then it's like, oh, I still have to do this because it's so practiced in you to compromise your energy already. It's more practiced for you to compromise your energy that it's practiced for you to not compromise your energy, right? And so it's like a deprogramming stage. So, and I talk about that a lot in Easy Money too. But yeah, committed to honoring myself and my energy. Yeah, and that's something that a lot of people shy away from because that is really difficult emotionally, right? It's not hard work as in, like, physical labor, right? But it's hard work staying committed and staying devoted sometimes, right? But sometimes it's really easy. So is it hard or is it easy? We never actually had to compromise ourselves to create the reality that we want. Yes. Yeah. And the more you're conditioned to that compromise, then the more likely you're going to do it, and the more essentially deprogramming you have to do to get yourself to the point where you're normalizing honoring your energy. Because looking out into the physical world, there's not going to be a lot of evidence of that. There's not going to be a lot of evidence for people honoring their energy 100% of the time. So even 50% of the time, right? The closest people we probably know are people that we know online. So you have to think about the accumulation of the people in your life that actually shapes your reality too.